Welcome to this conversation hosted by Emerald Technology Ventures. I'm Helge Daebel, and in this episode we'd like to ask the question, are water utilities running out of time? And joining me for this conversation is an esteemed colleague, Rik Thijssen, Manager of Business Development at Vitens, one of the largest utilities in the Netherlands. And part of his role is managing the innovation processes in different domains. Hi, Rik.
Good morning.
We've been knowing each other for a long, long time. So what's new? I mean, I can only imagine there are lots of things that are troubling utilities these days, but what's your view?
Yeah, my current view has rapidly changed last couple of years. And if we compare to today and the future in front of us, if you go 5 years back, utilities in general in Western Europe and especially in the Netherlands, there was no serious issue. There was enough water, there was no climate change, at least we were not aware about that. There was no drought, and we did have fluent operations and a very low non-revenue water, so it was easy going. Okay. If we compare to today, it's COVID, it's climate change, it's aging population within the same time period in front of us, so it's really very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long list.
It's a terrible list.
I'm not sure everybody is aware yet, but we obviously consider that all the time as well. Let's maybe be a little bit more specific. Like when you say COVID, what does it actually mean for a water utility? What are the impacts that you guys had to face during the peak time of the COVID? Yeah,
there were three main issues. One is the concern from our management board to take care of their own people in terms of safety. That's one. Two is it was a huge step in working digital. Mm-hmm. So meeting at the office, it's the old times from now, at least we hope that's the fact. And three, we have serious limitations in terms of the quality control of the water at consumers and customers. We were not allowed to visit these customers for our quality control systems. Mm-hmm. So that was a serious concern at that time.
So any automated systems can actually, like COVID could be seen as a trigger to automate further, right? In that sense, a positive impact, right?
Yeah, for sure. Virtual meetings was the solution.
Okay.
It can reduce a little bit, I hope. Yeah. But it was a huge challenge to switch within 48 hours from offices to digital.
And did you also face these challenges that you sometimes hear about, that entire industrial or commercial areas were depopulated, therefore no water consumption, therefore water quality issues in the drinking water pipes? Was that also something?
Yes, we have seen changes, but we had still the year before in mind that we have tremendous hot summers. So all predictions went completely different. Based on different temperatures in summertime, including COVID. So,
And then you mentioned, on top of all this, we face climate change. I mean, this past year has shown us many floodings, but we should obviously also consider droughts. I picked something up from the Netherlands that you have groundwater levels that are dropping, creating certain issues. I think if people think of climate change, they usually think of floods or droughts and not having enough water, but I don't think they think so much about what it also has, what kind of an impact it also has on the actual stability of the infrastructure system as the soils start to shift and so on.
Yes.
Is that an issue that you face?
Yeah, that's a serious issue. It's depending if your production is depending on surface water or groundwater, like Vitens is dedicated to groundwater utility. And in summer times, we're not the only user of the groundwater. It's agriculture, it's farming, it's recreation. So it was really a challenge to manage the water operations during the hot summer times. Yes. And the infrastructure was really suffering from low pressure and strange changes in pressure during the day. So it was something we have never seen before.
And how does the population correspond to that? Do you see a change in how the population behaves towards the utility? I mean, all the challenges that you listed, the population recognizes as well, right? So how are you responding to it as a utility? Do you need to change the way how you interact with your customers?
Yes, we have explored the way how we are able to interact with our customers by social media, trying to get on the 8 o'clock news in the evening, to bring the relationship between swimming pools, gardening, and the water supply issues. And I think we were able to manage that quite well. But it's something you need to continue continuously to have the result finally.
Yeah. And well, I mean, we now touched on a couple of big topics like COVID and climate change and so on. And we asked the provocative question at the beginning, are we running out of time, right? So I guess we both know what utilities are known for in terms of their adoption cycle or the time that they need to adopt new solutions. Definitely technology can help with these challenges, right? So is there enough time, the way utilities usually act, to correspond to these kind of challenges, or are we really running out of time, or is there something that has to happen?
I think that there are that many challenges appearing in a short time period that if in the way we manage the utilities the last 5 years, it's nearly impossible to be in control if you look at the challenges in front of us, to do it in the time frames we had in mind. So to push it together, not let's say over a time span of 20 years, but what should we arrange in 5 or 10 years time, and then regulation is there. So also governmental bodies are pushing us to accomplish something within 5 years time and 10 years time. We are not used to that. So that's a tremendous challenge for every water related activity.
Yeah, and I think it's a mix of a culture, right? I mean, utilities by definition have to think long term, have to be risk averse from a certain perspective, right? You're ensuring good health, clean water service, and so on. So from that perspective, the culture is long term. Also from the assets, from everything that is deployed, it's long term, right? Yet, looking at climate change, you will need to be much more adaptive with very static systems, right? Very heavy systems.
Oh, absolutely. So we can be concerned into the future, but we are also aware about the fact that really a serious numbers of opportunities. Yes, we have an issue with aging population within the utility, but it means that we're able to have new people on board with new capabilities, new ideas. They are speeding up the processes, that's one, and the availability of new technologies. So artificial intelligence, robotics, for sure they're going to help us to make it happen within the 5, let's say 10 years time.
Yeah, and maybe that brings us to the final question also that we want to look at. I mean, in venture capital, you like to look into the future. So in 10 years from now, let's say 2030, would these be the areas that you predict investors should take a closer look at, or would you add other areas that will be hot 10 years from now?
The main challenge is that how are we able to implement technology in a way that it makes the operations more easier, more efficient, in terms of cost, but also in terms of energy and carbon dioxide, but also to have let's say, ability to adapt the technologies. We are now a little bit anxious in terms of implementation. So it's just pushing technology in the organization and to be prepared.
And what I hear is everything that helps you to be adaptive, everything that helps you to connect to the customers, maybe even use them as sensors, customer as a sensor, robotic technologies that you mentioned. So these would be areas that we, the investors, should watch out for.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you, Rik.